Hello everyone, welcome back, and oh my goodness, in just a few days, the highly anticipated movie Avengers Infinity War will be released in the theaters. And so I thought, why not, to celebrate this 10-year journey, and you guys can see that 20 films, well, 19 with this one, but we still have one more to go this year, Ant-Man and the Wasp. So with all these films coming, I thought, why not we do a ranking of all the Marvel Cinematic Universe films that have come out in the past 10 years. Now, of course, this is my opinion, so if you have a different opinion, that is amazing. That is awesome. You do you, I'll do me. So, without further ado, let's jump right into it. The Incredible Hulk. This is one of the earlier films, and when I'm rewatching the film, when I was doing like a marathon, when I was rewatching these films, I was expecting this to be, it wasn't really that good. I didn't really remember that much of it, but it was actually way worse than I remember. It looks pretty outdated, and you could tell that this wasn't really connected in the universe, that there was a quick deal, because after the success of the first Iron Man, there was a quick deal that Marvel Studios and Kevin Feige made with Universal to get this film in their universe and tying a little after credit scene with Iron Man and all that, and some little subtlety nods to like Stark Industries and stuff. But yeah, the CGI is aged horribly as well. Like even the fight near the end looks real bad. Lots of stupid plot points. The acting from like the girlfriend stuff, like just a bunch of randomness that really didn't fit that well. It just was a pretty bad experience. And now the other one that I really didn't was Age of Ultron. These are the only two films in this series I have not liked, so that's actually a pretty good sign since there's like 18 or 19 or something. But yeah, this film again, like it was trying to set up too many movies, and it was really like it didn't really feel like it had its own story. The villain was pretty underwhelming, and so, like even the action parts I didn't really like that much. They were pretty dull and boring. The only part that I really liked was like some of the scenes where they're talking. That's about it. And this one, which when I thought about it, I was like, oh, it's not as bad as people say. And while it's not like a bad film, it's pretty dull and forgettable. Like there wasn't really that much pizzazz to it. Just some moments with Robert Downey Jr., but that's really it. It was really let down, unfortunately. Not as good as I remember. This one, this was actually a really good start. I think with the best that they could have done with the Thor character at this moment, I think they did solid. And I know everyone hates the human characters in the film and all. I really like them. I find them funny, and there's some goodness to them. But other than that, and also it gave us one of the best villains, or even the best. A lot of people argue with Loki as Tom Hiddleston, and yeah. And I know everyone hates this film, but I'm sorry, there's so much good in it that I can't hate it. It's a really good film. I thought it was slightly better than the first Thor, which I know is blasphemy to a lot of you, but I mean, the music was gorgeous. It was, the villain, I agree, is utter garbage. The villain was utter trash. But the performances were pretty strong. I loved how we got to see more of Asgard. Again, the human characters I enjoyed. I know everyone hates them and all, but and also the artwork is good. It just seems like a lot of stuff is overlooked in this film, and that sucks to see. I mean, I know it has its problems, but... And here we go, the start of Captain America. This was actually, for what they were doing, this was a really great start to this character. It felt like the 1940s very well, and it shows humble beginnings from this guy who just wants to serve for his country and all. Had a great supporting cast with Peggy and Bucky and all that, and a really good villain, really underrated too. This was a really solid villain. So overall, this was a pretty good earlier edition of the MCU. Here we get to another one that a lot of people don't like as much anymore as they used to and all, even though it made over $1 billion, but whatever. But no, I mean, the only problem that I had with this was the major twist that I'm not going to really spoil, but that was a major issue that I had. But a lot. I actually like how he wasn't like in the suit the entire time. It's more of like a personal journey with him, about him as a person. Not he doesn't need to be all about the suits, and that was a big complaint that a lot of people had. But I thought it was pretty good, and it gave some other characters a bit more to do, like Pepper Potts. So I thought that was pretty good. And here we are, one of the most recent entries in the universe. We got Thor Ragnarok. Now, a lot of people would have it higher. I thought it was a really good time. Like the first, I'd say 30 minutes were spectacular. Spectacular. And I know this is a little bit controversial. Now, before I say it, do not twist my words and say that I don't mean it. Or any of that. But when they get to Sakaar, it's where it declines a little bit. I'm not saying that's bad at all. I love the Sakaar part, okay? I'm not going to say that. I'm just saying I loved the first half a bit more, and it declined slightly. But once they get back to Asgard and all, I thought it was good. And also, the villain was amazing. Kate Blanchett was truly a scene stealer. Oh my god. And also, it had some really big ramifications on the MCU with everything that happens. Again, not really going to spoil if you haven't seen it, but definitely check it out. Here we are to another entry. Doctor Strange. I thought that this was a fantastic film, and especially for a single outing. Like, these recent ones have been really great, and to come after Civil War with a big team up and all, and it still made a lot of money. Great cast. It's one of the rewatchable MCU movies in my opinion. It had fantastic music. Like, I mean fantastic music. Michael Giacchino, the ones that he does in this universe are just the best. Oh my goodness. And it also was really trippy. Like, it had some great visual effects, which was BS that didn't win the Oscars that year, but I'm not going to rant on that. Anyways, it was truly a really good movie, and I cannot wait to see more of this character and, well, his supporting character Wong, because Wong is also going to be heavily featured in Infinity War. I just cannot wait to see more of them. Here we go. Ant-Man. Oh my goodness, I really enjoy Ant-Man. It was such a fun ride. Luis, the best character, it has some of the best side characters, and it doesn't really need to be high stakes. Like, a lot of these films sometimes are high stakes with superhero movies. This one's pretty small stake. It's just a guy who's being recruited by someone who needs a smaller guy to get in and, you know, do something. It's like kind of like a heist film. Really great. Paul Rudd was truly awesome. And while I would have liked to see Edgar Wright finish, because his parts, you can tell which parts are his, are the best in this movie with Luis and all. The other director that did this, I think, did a good job. And it's the same guy doing the upcoming Ant-Man and the Wasp. So I have faith in him. Here we go. Spider-Man Homecoming. I really love this film. I thought this was the best they could do with this character. And Iron Man wasn't in it as much, thank goodness. I mean, there were some of his characters in there, you know, but not as much as they were marketing. And I loved how it was pretty down to earth. Like, it's just like a kid, you know, in this bigger universe who's, you know, pretty new in the game. People are over ecstatic about it. And it shows basically how normal kids and just people would react to the situations that happen around. Excellent film with Michael Keaton. Probably my favorite. He's probably my favorite in this universe. I might like him a bit more than Loki. I have to think about that more, but again, a really great movie. Again, Michael Giacchino's music was fantastic, and also really good. To the one that started it all, Iron Man. Oh man, this was truly a smash. Like, it just did the origin of this character that was a B character at the time so well. And to think, like, they're still doing it. He's back again. Everyone's back. That's how great this was. And I'm so glad for all the people involved in this, except Terrence Howard. Sorry, dude. But anyways, it doesn't really age as well. A lot of it looks really practical. Some of the suits, I guess, from some angles look a little iffy, but it looks really nice. It had a great origin story. A pretty decent villain for its story. Not really that memorable, though. But again, it was just a really great start off to this universe. Here we get down to the nitty-gritty. Okay, but I do not have this one on DVD, but it's still in theaters, and that is Black Panther. I thought Black Panther was a really terrific film. It was excellent with its world building, and all the characters introduced, some of the best side characters I've seen in a movie. So many layers and depths, and the villain was fantastic. Like, you've seen my review, you know my thoughts on the film. When I said it was quote unquote one of the best MCU movies, I really meant it. It was a really great film, and I cannot wait to see more of these characters in Infinity War and beyond. Okay, here we go. So, another one of my favorites. Guardians of the Galaxy. I'm a pretty big Guardians fanboy, as you can see back there. I adored everything about these characters, this movie, the music. And this film right here was the one that made me be like, I'm never going to doubt Marvel. I mean, I'll still like be fair on reviews and stuff, but whenever they release the film in theaters, I'm seeing it day one. This film is what decided that for me, because here's a little story I'm going to say. So when it came out at first, I remember my sister and my dad were like, hey, we're going to go see Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. You know, like garbage Michael Bay one. You want to come? I'm like, no, it looks like garbage. They're like, okay. So they go there and get there. They're like, oh, the new Marvel film's out. You want us to come back and get you? I'm like, no, that looks like filth. They're like, okay. They saw it and they told me they loved it. And it was fantastic. And I would love it and stuff. And told me some reasons why. I'm like, oh, really? So then a week or two later, I went to go see it. And I fell in love with this movie. There's so much comedy. There's some really heartfelt stuff in it too. The cast all around was fantastic. And it's the film that made me be like, I need to have more faith in these guys. These guys know what they're doing. They have a clear set universe. Here we get to the big one. The original Avengers. This film will still, like, this was like a benchmark in not just like superhero movies, but in just filmmaking in general. Because you see how when this film came out, you see a whole bunch of studios trying to mimic what they did. Like with Warner Bros. With the DC properties. Universal, I believe it's Universal with The Mummy, with that monster universe. You got, I think it's Paramount with their Jurassic World or something. I forgot, I think it is. And you have just all these studios trying to get their universes, not specifically superhero, just big universes to make in more money. But you cannot beat the original. Even Star Wars came back, but this one just did everything perfect. There was so much action, so much comedy, and it was the buildup of 5 films, and it succeeded, and it was really enjoyable, and I cannot wait to see how they're gonna even top it with Infinity War. That's just crazy in my opinion, but there we go. Here we get to the top 3 right here, and these 3 I've been debating. I kept rearranging them and switching them, but I think for this moment, here's how it would be set. Captain America Civil War, I thought was an excellent 2.5 kind of Avengers film. I mean, Hulk and Thor aren't in it, so that means it's technically not Avengers, but still, basically, it's an Avengers movie with a Captain America story. And I thought it was terrific. And how it dealt with the sides and all, I thought was really okay. Like, I've had some problems with it, basically on Iron Man's side mostly, and how it's ridiculous and doesn't make any sense. And they've been saying how you could watch the movie and see both sides pretty perfectly, but when you watch it, it makes logical decision to root for Cap, because like that, his side makes the most sense, and plus with how it plays out with the villain and all in the movie, it just makes the most sense, like with the story and all. But again, it handled all the characters very well, and it was also done by the Russo brothers, who's directing this Infinity War that's coming out in a few days. So I have faith that they can handle it. Captain America, The Winter Soldier is still one of the best comic book films ever made. Easily the best Cap film ever made, and almost the best MCU film made, except for a personal choice of mine. But this film, also by the Russo brothers, you can see a pattern, can't you? Was fantastic. I was debating on which one was higher, this or Civil War. But as a Captain America story, I just found this one more enthralling. And I love how it did that political thriller very well. It had a really great villain. A couple villains, actually. Like, I just thought it was a really intense movie. The action was fantastic. Like, oh my goodness. And even like near the end, it could get really emotional at times. This was just a all-out really good movie. And also, all the characters it has in the film, it uses very well. Here we get to my favorite. I know this isn't really a lot of people's favorite. but it's my favorite, and I've been debating on it and all, but I don't care. I'm just gonna say it. Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. Now, a lot of people didn't like it as much. People liked it, but just mostly critics and stuff didn't like it as much as the other ones. But I saw this film 5 times in theaters. I mean, I saw it 5 times. I haven't seen any of these 5 times in theaters. Maybe Infinity War, but this just really stuck with me from beginning to end. I loved it. It was really great, and like the comedy was really good. And people use that as an argument, like there's too much comedy, that makes it bad. I'm like, what? How can there be too much comedy? That's a stupid argument. And there was some really heartfelt stuff in there too. I mean, when you look at it, it could be a beat by beat kind of movie. Nothing really memorable about it. It just stuck with me. I can't really explain it. It just stuck with me. So, those are my thoughts on all the Marvel Cinematic Universe movies. What did you all think of that listing? And if you guys want to let me know yours, I would read it. If you guys want to leave comments, I would read it. So, thank you all for watching, and I am so excited. My next video will probably be the review for Infinity War. I cannot believe this day is almost here. 10 years in the making. 20 films, basically. It's crazy, and it doesn't look like it's stopping anytime soon. So, thank you all for watching, and I'll see you later. Bye.